What is up, YouTube? Everybody out there in YouTube land, how are you guys doing? So far, we got a couple people in here. Shout out to Matt Werney, the first person in the chat. I'm going to let the video load up a little bit so we can get a couple people in here. So if you're not watching this live, probably skip ahead about a minute or so until we actually get the details going. This video is going to be about repricing, repricers, which repricer do I use, which ones should you use, which one do other people use, how much do they cost, and just super basic stuff about repricers that I believe can help a lot of people. Shout out to AIM in the chat, Miggity Mike, kicking it. He's the new shoe god, the used shoe god. What's up, Megan? C Money Mad Hops, Pat McNabb. So let's just get this. Let's get this going right away. So first off, guys, you might notice this is not my normal broadcasting location. Just a second ago, I went to go live from my other broadcasting location with the ring light and the backdrop and whatnot, and my ring light is busted, so it wouldn't turn on. So now we're in the garage in my listing station, which is super messy. Check it out. Super messy listing station. Anyways, so yeah, we're just going to make it work. But if you have any questions, please type question in all caps, and then I will go into the chat and answer those questions for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. So what is a repricer? And if you sell on eBay primarily or you're new to Amazon, you might not know what a repricer is. So a repricer is something that takes your Amazon inventory and reprices it. It lowers or raises the price to, I'm looking homeless. Yeah, I do need to shave. And for some reason, flannels contribute to homeless looking. So back to what I was saying, it raises or lowers the price according to rules that you set and your competitors' prices on the marketplace. It is very important to have a repricer because it will make you a lot more sales. If you currently sell on Amazon and you don't reprice your inventory and you don't have a repricer, I guarantee without a doubt that if you signed up for one right now, the next 30 days would be your best 30 days of sales ever. A repricer is the best investment that you could make into your Amazon business, and it's one of the first things that I recommend people invest into when getting their Amazon business started. So the reason you need to reprice stuff is because when you list it, you might assume or think it's going to sell for this price, and then what happens is over time, the price changes, the marketplace changes, more people list stuff than stuff that gets sold. And what happens is all of a sudden your price is not relevant to the market price anymore. And if you want to make the sale, you're going to have to lower your price. I mean, you might want to hold out, but if you want to sell it and faster, you want to price it and you want to get the buy box. So the way that you get the buy box is mostly by having the lowest price. What's the buy box? It's the thing that says buy on the main product detail page on Amazon. Most customers don't ever even look into the other offers available. They just click buy. And so if you don't have the buy box, if your offer is not the one occupying the buy box, you're not going to make the sale. There's other ways to get the buy box. There are some other metrics considered, but the main metric considered is the best price. So having the best price, the most competitive price, is the easiest and best way to get the buy box. Of course, I'm talking about having FBA inventory. If you're not FBA inventory, I'm not sure if you can get the used buy box. But anyways, I digress. So what repricer do I use? I use Reprice It, repriceit.com. I've been using it for well over 10 years. It gets the job done, and I highly recommend it to a lot of people. It is by far the cheapest repricer that you can use anywhere. And a lot of people use it. Most booksellers use Reprice It. There is some other repricers. There's a lot, actually. I pulled some of them up right here. Hold on. There's Repricer Express. I've never used that one. I can't say anything about it. There's Excelco. I've never used that one. I can't say anything about that one either. App Eagle is another one that I have used and still currently used. But App Eagle is really expensive. And and I actually only use it for my new items. But there's a main difference between, there's two types of repricers that you can get besides of all these different brands or whatever. There's a schedule-based repricer, which is what Reprice It is. So you set rules and then you set schedules, and it would say, like, for example, at 1 o'clock it will run your rules and reprice your inventory, and then again at 2:30, and then at 3:45, and then at 6 in the morning, or whatever you want. But it's schedule based, and so at that time it runs, and then it analyzes your rules and reprices your inventory according to your rules. Then there is reactive repricers, which is like App Eagle, and I'm sure there's some other ones. But so reactive means that it changes your price when it can, like when your competition is. So if you have a rule that says always make me have the lowest price, every time someone tries to undercut you to get the lowest price, your inventory will get repriced as fast as possible to have the lowest price. So there's a lot of stuff, like if you sell a lot of retail arbitrage items, you might want to have a reactive repricer. There's reasons why you might want a reactive pricer over a schedule-based repricer. With books, which are very high beta, meaning they don't sell very fast, I don't particularly think that it's imperative to have a reactive pricer. Now, I sell a lot of shoes also, and for my shoes and other retail arbitrage items, new items that sell fast volume, I use App Eagle. And the reason why is because it's selling so many per day, and a lot of people have large quantities of stuff. It's not like books where most people only have one copy of a book. There might be 10 pairs of black Nike size 8 or whatever, and from just that one seller that's above you, or two sellers above you, or whatever. So it's important to have the buy box, right? At least in my opinion. I recently spoke with a friend of mine, John Reuter, and he sells a lot of shoes also, more than me, I believe, but he uses Reprice It. And his theory with that is that he'd rather let other people sell their inventory out and not compete and race down on prices. And so he just holds out and he makes his sales. Everybody has a different business model. You have to decide what yours is and how you want to operate it. Some people price their, I'm just going to use shoes as a reference for this because I have most experience with this. Most people, not most people, but some people price their shoes to sell at the buy box price, no matter what, at all the way down to their break-even point, or maybe even at a loss, because, and I understand why you would do this. You want to get your money back so you can reinvest it in more pairs of shoes, because shoes are expensive. They're like $20, $40, $50 a pair, maybe 60 or 70. And so you might buy 100 pairs of shoes and they might not all sell at a profitable price, but enough will that you'll make good money, and you just liquidate the other ones at a loss to get your money back so you can re-roll the dice on other shoes that are going to perform better versus holding out on them for the longer time. I see Ricky said that John Reuter is one of the funnier guys online. That's definitely true. Definitely not trying to be too serious. He's a pretty funny guy. So like I said, there's different business models with different approaches, but let's go over the prices real quick. So I'm looking at App Eagle right now, and let me close their pop-up. And it says that for $200 a month, App Eagle will give you the ability to price 10,000 listings. Now, you might think 10,000 is a lot, and generally, if you have books, that would be 10,000, or if you had shoes, I'm sorry, 10,000 would be a lot, because if your average price on a pair of shoes is $40 and you have 1,000, that's 40,000 times that by 10. That'd be almost $500,000 of shoes in your inventory. So that would keep you good. You'd be good. But if you were trying to use that to reprice books, and you had 10,000 books, that would be $200 a month. That'd be kind of ripoff, not really worth it. Where if you look at Reprice It, sorry, I'm looking at my other computer over here, but if you look at Reprice It, you can get 10,000 items, 10 to 20,000 items priced for $40 a month. So that's a huge difference of $160 a month to have Reprice It versus App Eagle on the 10,000 limit. So just to compare it again quickly, App Eagle, $200 a month, up to 10,000 SKUs. Reprice It Pro level is $40 a month for 10 to 20,000 SKUs. So twice as many SKUs And just to compare it, equal up to 10,000 on Reprice It is $30. So um, me and Scott, with our book business, we've had as many as 30,000 books in inventory at any time. So we have the Pro Plus model, and I believe we're grandfathered in at a lower price, but $60 for 20,000 to 50,000 items on Reprice It, and $80 for 50,000 to 100,000 items on Reprice It. Nobody can compete with Reprice It on price, in my opinion. Again, I haven't used all of the different softwares, but I have been using Reprice It for 10 years at least, and it gets the job done. It doesn't have all of the best options. It has a lot more than it did when I first started, and they don't have the best customer service, but it gets the job done, and it's pretty. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to. It gets the job done. It's not super fancy, right? And so I can't testify to what all of these other repricers can do, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about all of these other repricers. I'm sorry. Um, so again, you don't need a repricer, but you should be repricing your items, whether you're doing it manually or using a repricer. You need to do this to make sales, right? So if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of inventory, you can price your items manually. And I'm going to make another video on that about how to very quickly price items. So I have a way that I can manually price 100 items in about 4.5, 5 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys how it works. It's pretty insane. But once you get tired of doing that, like I was probably pricing, 100 items a day for the longest time before I finally switched to using a repricer when I first started in the first year. And I was so glad to have that time saved. And I obviously started making a lot more sales. Um, let's see. And obviously you can't use it on mobile. I see there a comment being about something on mobile. You need a desktop to use it. Um, let's see if there's anything else that I need to discuss, because I'm not really going into details. I'm just kind of explaining to you guys what it is and how it works. Let's see, repricers, App Eagle, Reprice It. Oh yeah, so one of my favorite things that I like to do with Reprice It is it has a template type by price. And so I can list my items very quickly. We use Scan Lister to list. We're looking into Exceller list. And we list at a default price. We're not pricing our items when we list them. So let's say I list it for $299.79. Then I can make a template on Reprice It that will look for those items, $299.79. It will only find those items, and then I can make it extremely aggressive to drop the price down to market value. Now that template won't go on those items again only one time, because they won't be that price again. They're not likely to be that price that I have it set at. But what it allows me to do is upload at a default price and then have the repricer come through and reprice everything down to market value, which saves me a lot of time, because pricing your inventory takes a little bit more time when you're listing or whatever. Again, that might not be the way you want to do it, but with personally, most of the books I'm buying are acquired for very cheap. They're not mostly, they're mostly from Goodwills, thrift stores, retail arbitrage type things. And I feel like my time is much more invested in getting more books and listing more quickly rather than maximizing the profit on every single one. Other people might have different business models. Maybe you use eFlip. There's a link down below for a 10-day free trial. That's a tool that lets you buy books off Amazon to sell back on Amazon. But the thing with that is your books are generally going to cost you a lot more. They're probably going to be like $12 cost and upwards on average. And so for those books, it might be much more important for you to maximize your profit. And I know other people have different models. Some people don't reprice their items. They price it at their initial price, and then they don't let their repricer hit it until like 3 months down the line or something like that, or maybe at least 30 days or whatever. Everybody has different models and different needs, but just make sure the repricer that you use is capable of doing those things for you so that you get what you need out of the situation. Let me go into the comments. Let's see. On average, how many books can you source per thrift store where you're at? It depends, guys. We try to do at least 1,000 books a week. But sometimes it's 3,000 and sometimes it's only 500. It just depends. It's not the average is what's important, not necessarily what you get on any given day. You definitely want to set your minimum prices on your repricer so that you're not selling any books at a price that will lose you money. And here's a major tip, guys. Don't just set up a repricer and start running it. I can't speak for all the repricers, but on Reprice It, they have a little box on your template that says send it to Amazon. And when you check that box, that's when it's actually going to change prices on Amazon. But what you can do is leave that box unchecked. What you should do, leave that box unchecked and then run the template and view the reports and make sure that it's actually pricing the items that you want it to price and pricing them at prices that is what you desire to happen. You do not want to set it up and make a couple little mistakes and then run your templates and then be like, holy crap, I just sold all my inventory for a penny because I didn't set a minimum price or because you set something wrong. Because in most scenarios, especially with FBA, it's going to be too late for you to fix that. So just make sure, please make sure that you don't check that box until you've run the template a few times and viewed the reports and you're 100% sure that you're ready to let it go on your inventory. What's your sell-through rate for books, if you don't mind sharing? Sell-through rates 50% every 3 months. Yeah. If you guys don't know Ricky Analog, he's a moderator in the chat. That's my business partner. So he can answer some questions. He's actually answering them before I am, which is annoying and slightly awesome. More Anush asks, are you going to meet up on the 25th? I went to the one today. You went to the LA one with Matt Loberstein? That's awesome. Matt's a cool guy. I am going to be at Shakey's Pizza in Los Angeles on the 25th at 6:30 p.m. And that's the one on Whittier, I believe. And then the next day, the 26th, I am speaking about social media at the Merchella conference. That's RJ Martinez conference. Oh, someone said that would suck to price a pair of Jordans. Don't check the box. So check it out, guys. Here's the thing. Since I use App Eagle and Reprice It, anytime I list retail arbitrage, I put a per item SKU rule into Reprice It. And that includes the SKU of the item, the price I paid for it, and the minimum that I want to sell it for, which generally I would put at my break-even price. And then App Eagle can do its thing within that realm, and Reprice It would never drop the price lower than that. And also, most of the books I sell are used, so I have a new template specifically for new items on Reprice It, and my book templates are all for various conditions of used items, so they're not ever going to go and touch a new pair of Nikes or something. True Web Deals says, I subscribed to Reprices but ended up canceling the subscription because I had trouble configuring it. Do you know any good tutorials or classes? I know there is an article written by Nathan Holmquist of the Book to the Future blog. He's also the creator of ScanLister. It's a little old or whatever, but like you can extrapolate from that article how you should have it. Brian Chmiller says, should we get rid of our non-selling books every 6 months storage fees or hold out till the 12-month fees? Good question. If you see that the profit is there, you should hold out. So look at the items and see like what's the long-term storage fee going to cost? Does this item look like it's going to sell? And if you think it's going to sell eventually at a price that's going to make you profit based on your cost plus the long-term storage fees, then I would say you should keep it. And what that profit's going to be is going to vary for your business model or your needs. But those are the questions that you need to ask yourself when you're considering liquidating inventory to avoid long-term storage fees. Ghostface Pika says, when's the best time to hit Marshalls? Right before the shoes get put out? I don't know. You're going to have to talk to your shoe person in your Marshalls or whoever puts out whatever department you're buying in. Talk to them, bring them some coffee once in a while, bring them some donuts, let them know that you mean business and you're a nice person. So when they want you to win, your job will be easier, right? That's typical reselling stuff. And you should, then you'll have your finger on the pulse. You'll know when the trucks are coming, what time. You might even be able to get someone to text you when the new inventory is coming in, right? So let's go to this question from Megan. When do you recommend getting a repricer? I've heard waiting till you have at least 500 books. Great question, Megan. This is subjective, but um, you should get a repricer when you are tired of pricing your inventory. So it's pretty simple. If you have the time to do it, maybe you're home every day, you got the time to do it, go ahead and do it. But and this answer goes the same for all kinds of things that help your business or will make you more money. Is you should only invest in those things if and when you know for sure that you could be using that time or that money to do other things. So when your opportunity cost is more, right? So when you're packing boxes in your warehouse and you're like, damn, I wish I had an employee to pack this box for me because I could be out buying stuff. And as a matter of fact, I know that there's stuff out there today or whatever. That means you're losing money essentially, because in our business, you make your money when you buy. So if you can't be buying, then you're losing money, and maybe you should consider investing in someone to help you pack those boxes or someone to help you reprice that inventory. That way, you can focus on the things that are actually making your business more money. So yeah, repricers are a great thing. It's a great investment. Every single Amazon seller I know that is doing good, except for private label sellers, are the ones, they're all using repricers. I do not know a single successful Amazon seller, except for private label, that is not, and maybe wholesale, I guess, I don't know, I'll have to ask Larry, that aren't using repricers. So every bookseller, every retail arbitrage seller, every online arbitrage seller, and I'm assuming wholesale sellers as well, they're all using repricers. And if you're not using a repricer, those are the people that you're competing against. One more thing that I want to put into play is, especially for people who sell shoes or non-books or whatever, it's important to have a reactive repricer, because think about this, and I guess you could argue with me on this or whatever, but if you have a schedule-based repricer and you reprice your inventory at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. So this is what happens. I have the buy box. Your repricer goes off at 3 p.m. and reprices your inventory. You have the buy box now. 1 minute later, my reactive repricer is going to kick in, and now I'm going to have the buy box. And if it's just me and you, I'm going to have the buy box for the next 59 minutes until your software reprices your items again at 4, and then you'll have the buy box for 1 more minute, and then I'll have it for the next 59 minutes. So that's why it's important to have a reactive pricer, because if you have a schedule-based repricer and you're competing against a lot of people that have a reactive-based repricer, you'll only be holding the buy box for a very short period of time in between the time that they're holding it, and that's not a good way to acquire the buy box. Matt Warney says repricers are critical for wholesale. The buy box doesn't know if the item is RAOA or wholesale. Correct, yeah. So I would assume that everyone except for private label sellers use it, which is great because they're not competing against anyone on price. Megan says, I have been searching for Gaylords. I've been reading on different groups that an average of 4 cents a pound is a good average. Is that true, or at least less than 100 per Gaylord? Yes, 4 cents per pound is a good rate. It depends. Are they sorted? Are they unsorted? If a supplier has a higher price, I wouldn't discount them immediately. I would at least get 1 or 10 Gaylords and sample them and see what it's like. Maybe, you hit the mega golden egg load or whatever, pause, and you can continue that relationship at a profitable rate. But generally, 4 cents, 6 cents, 8 cents a pound. And I think around 10, I don't do Gaylords, but I think maybe around 10 cents, 10% keeper rate or less is considered really good for Gaylords. Ghostface Picker says, question, who makes more money, Amazon resellers or eBay resellers? I would say Amazon sellers, and I would say that they're able to scale their business easier, but that's a subjective answer. It depends who lists more, who has invested more money and time into their business. So really the person who invests more money and time into their business is going to make more. But you cannot deny the fact that it is far easier for an Amazon seller to scale their business using Amazon FBA than it is for an eBay seller to scale their business. There's no built-in fulfillment platform for eBay. Brian says, question, what do you say to people when they ask you what you're doing when you're scanning books? I tell them I'm a collector. This is a great question. You can tell them any number of things. If you want to be, snide, you can be like, I eat them. You can just say something weird and look at them with crazy eyes, and then they'll like leave you alone or whatever. But I wouldn't recommend saying that to an employee of a store, right? I would say something like, I'm just checking the price, or I work for a company that sells books online, or um, anything. The thing is you think most people are going to want to ask you all kinds of questions. They're just curious because they don't see a lot of people using a device when they're shopping or whatever. And so 99.9% of the time, it doesn't matter what you say to someone after that, as long as it's just nice and courteous. And then 0.5 seconds later, they're going to stop paying attention to you. And you can see it in their eyes when their eyes gloss over and you're telling them whatever you're telling them. They're not really paying attention. So I recommend just being nice, but there is a caveat with telling them that you sell books or you work for a company that sells books, because many times I've told people, yeah, I work for a company that sells books online, just because it's easier to say than saying you do it yourself. And they've said, oh, really? My cousin has a basement full of books, or my grandma has an attic full of books. And it's more often than not, it's turned into a supplier or a source of books, even if it's just a one-time source. So it pays to talk about what you do, because you're going to make more relations and network with people. Because the reality is you want everybody to know in your community that you're the book guy. So I might wake up tomorrow and there could be a box of books on my porch from my neighbors. I don't know which neighbor put those books there, but they know I sell books, so they don't send them to the Goodwill. They just put them on my porch, right? And you want everyone to know you're the book guy. You want your name to be synonymous with books. Let me see. I missed a couple ones. Matt Werney says, you mentioned you do not do Gaylords. What in particular has made you choose not to do them? I live in California and warehouse space is very expensive. So that is one reason that's prohibited me from doing it. The other thing is it's a whole operation. It's a warehouse. It's not just warehouse space. It's employees. It's processing every single day. It's just a little bit more to manage than a freelancer, contracted labor, 1099, like cherry picking position. And maybe it's just because I've been lucky with my local retail suppliers that I haven't had to go into that. But it's kind of like a raisin cookie. It's a lot of work processing Gaylords. So if you don't have the option to find good books near you where you're at, then you should probably be trucking them in and doing Gaylords, because anybody that lives anywhere can get stuff trucked into them from other places. So you don't have to be limited by your supply. You can have Gaylords trucked into you or whatever. But for me, it's just a huge undertaking that I haven't wanted to get into. I don't particularly like managing people or having teams of people. I'm actually looking toward private label and wholesale for this year. Of course, people are always going to make the funny comments about Gaylord. Sherry says, if you drop ship on eBay, it's scalable. Definitely is. Definitely. We're only doing hetero lords. Oh my God. Ghostface Pika says, will your social media income eventually replace your Amazon hustle? I doubt it. I definitely have much more passion for doing the social media stuff, my personal brand, than I do for selling books. I feel like I'm gifted at speaking. I like teaching people and I'm passionate about it, but I'm not, you know what I mean? It's just selling stuff, it's books. It's not super cool. It's not sexy, right? That's been said before. The used book business is not sexy. Let's see. Megan said, I was thinking of making flyers and putting them in every mailbox in my neighborhood, but I don't know if that's too weird. I don't think it's weird. I think it's a great idea. A lot of businesses do that. They invest in postcards and mail them. They buy address lists of certain areas. They open a new business, a cafe, for example, and they mail out postcards to every house in the neighborhood around it via a list that they purchased. That's, good for one free drink. Come on in. And that's a viable way to drive traffic to your business. Other people use door knockers. They buy the door knocker thing, like a made go away sign or whatever, but you put it on people's doors. Same thing. All viable ways to advertise. Um, let's see. Can you give a brief description of a Gaylord? Okay, guys, I probably should say this every time. A Gaylord is a physical measurement size it's a volumetric measurement for a bulk box of stuff, right? It's like a shipping term, and it's usually, I want to say, like 3 feet cubic or something, maybe 3.5 feet cubic, something like that. Maybe like not as tall, so not like a perfectly cube or whatever. Um, what about getting books from book liquidation companies that sell remainders? I'm sure it's profitable, but I don't know anyone that's having large success with it. Yeah, Justin Rose says, be careful, check your local laws regarding mail tampering or whatever. I was kind of thinking that too. Again, don't, you know what I mean? Don't hold me accountable for anything I say. I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? So businesses use post office to mail flyers. They don't do it themselves. True. Maybe stick to the door knockers, Megan, but also, be courteous when you go up to someone's door. Brian Gonzalez says, do you do LTL shipping for books on Amazon? You recommend shipping boxes once per week and source throughout the rest of the week? I recommend shipping if you have the ability to do LTL, you should, because you'll save an enormous amount of money. We save 60% or more doing LTL. So I'm going to pay 25 cents a pound via UPS or FedEx. But with LTL, I can pay 6 to 9 cents per pound. So it's a huge savings. Your mileage may vary with LTL shipping. It depends on how close you are to your fulfillment center, and also how much the carriers around you charge, I think, because Amazon stipulates which LTL carrier you use, and they charge different rates or whatever. So Ricky Analog says, how about you shave your face? And I say, don't be jelly just because you're incapable of growing a beard and all you can grow is bum fluff. It's all good, bro. I ain't mad at your bum fluff. I rent this home and I don't want to get into trouble. Yeah, definitely good. Amazon Seller 99 coming with the actual measurements of a Gaylord. It's a large box that fits 48 inches to 42 inches, 48 by 42 inches, and is about 36 inches high. So yeah, like 4 feet by 4 feet by, what is that? 3 feet tall, something like that. Dane says, question, if you put on ad on Craigslist that states I buy books, should I buy every book that comes my way or be picky? You should definitely be picky. I recommend people tell them to send you pictures of the barcodes of the books they have or the ISBNs. You need to automate this with replies. You could even have a 1-800 service that does it for you. So pay a call service to do this for you, and then people can just call in to the 1-800 number service, and then they will take the information like live on the phone and forward that to you. I haven't done that, but something that I thought of that I'm pretty sure would work well. Eric says, in 8 minutes, it's my birthday. Cheers, Eric. Happy birthday, bro. Justin says, even putting flyers on cars can get you in legal trouble if somebody wants to be a jerk about it. I should remember that for all those people that put flyers on my car. Question, any idea on why Amazon sent me to a warehouse on the East Coast when I'm in Houston? Nope. It's kind of no whim, no rhyme or reason to why Amazon makes you ship stuff to different places. It just happens like that. So David says, can I drop off items at my local Amazon warehouse? No, you cannot, but I wish you could, because I would set up a sourcing operation across the street from every single Amazon fulfillment center. I've actually thought about that. Scott says I'm in trouble with my wife now. Good night. Good night. I'm assuming you're up drinking. It's way past your bedtime, bro. Good luck on the market tomorrow, bro. Megan says, I had to stop doing Craigslist. I had a guy contact me. He looked me up, which I understand, but he was being a total creeper. And then I found out he was a pimp. Jesus, you can't make this stuff up, Megan. Protect your neck, Megan. Protect your neck. Ghostface Picka with Protect Your Neck says, what is your biggest moneymaker for time spent, RA or books? That's hard to say. I would say books. 90% of my income comes from my books, but RA is very profitable, especially during Q4. During Q4, RA by far outnumbers books, but overall, books is the business that we've built up, the model that we have. It's what we have running. Brian, last question, bro. Why is it that I'll have a lower price than a merchant seller and I'm prime and then they will still hold the buy box? I have no idea. That shouldn't be happening. Maybe you're not buy box eligible. So go and look, Brian, in your manage inventory page. There's a column that will say whether you're buy box eligible or not. And if you can't see that, go to preferences and enable that column. If you're not buy box eligible, contact seller support and find out why or if they can fix it. Question, you getting into crypto at all in 2018? Yes, I am. I actually started last year, and I'm glad Scott left the chat because he's a stock trader, and we'll just get into an argument about cryptocurrency. So I'm glad he's gone. But yeah, I do hodl some Bitcoin right now. Is it possible to make 5,000 profit on books? Yes, and much more. Megan said, question, do you know who you're having on the show tomorrow? Yeah, actually, I forgot. I was going to tell you guys. So I'm probably going to do the show from right here. So I hope the broadcast is good because this is what I'm going to have to do tomorrow till my new light comes in. My ring light broke. I went in to turn it on tonight and it just wouldn't turn on. So I'm going to return that thing, hopefully get another one pretty soon. But this is all I got for tomorrow. So I'll shave. I'll come, less homeless or whatever. But I'm going to have Flip a Dollar on the live show tomorrow. So Flip a Dollar started out selling media and books, and he sold on eBay mostly and a little bit on Amazon, but he just wasn't super sure about how to go about it. And he started following me maybe 2 years ago, right when I started. And I think he was inspired to get into books and then understand how to read sales rank charts and how to use scanning apps and other stuff like that. And so now he does really well. He has a social media following. He has little private groups and stuff like that. But he's a cool cat. He didn't grow up rich. He grew up in Philadelphia. And so we're going to talk about growing up. We're going to talk about hard times. We're going to talk about what he does on an average day now because he's out and about a lot. He's an Uber driver. He'll invest all his money in Amazon until he has no money left. Then he'll drive Uber just to make more money to invest into Amazon. So he's a real good hustler, and I believe a lot of you guys could relate to him and to his situation where he comes from exactly. So don't miss tomorrow night's show, 6 p.m. PST. If this broadcast was useful for you guys, please press the share button, press the like button, leave a comment down below. I would appreciate that. Let's see. Megan says you need to have Zach Rosa. That dude is hilarious and a beast. I'm definitely going to have Zach on the show. I've already contacted him, and I'm going to have him on the show. So that will be happening. Brian says, in my local Goodwill bins, the booksellers hate me because I start bringing heads to scan for me there. Good. If they hate you, that must mean you're doing your job, Brian. They're not their books, right? They're whoever gets there first, right? So as long as you're not hurting anyone and you're following the rules, more power to you. C Money Mad Hop said, question, can you share your thoughts when you come across a high rank book? Sure. So first off, I want to know what is the e-score or what is the sales count? Like how many copies has it sold in the last 90 days? I'm going to look at the sales rank chart and I'm going to ask myself, is this a title that actually sells? And what is the subject matter? The higher the rank is, the more concerned I am with the subject matter. The more I want to know, is this a title that has long-lasting value in the marketplace, right? So if it's a cat, I always use this example. If it's a cat calendar from 2006 and it has a 5 million rank and it says it's going to sell for $180, I probably am not going to buy it, not even for $2, because it's not likely to sell. I don't think it's going to sell. It's a cat calendar from 2006. So the higher the rank is, the more scrupulous you have to be when making your purchasing decisions, and the more important the title is. The longer that you're in the book game, the more in touch you'll be with titles, and the titles of items are what matter the most to me, because I want to know, what is this book? What is it about? Why would someone buy it? Not necessarily, let me just be a mindless robot and look at the numbers. Moranush says, do you recommend me using Scout IQ triggers when buying books, or are there books that are worth buying that say reject on Scout IQ? You need to set your own triggers that meet your own business model. That being said, the default triggers on Scout IQ are pretty solid, on point for like a $2 to $4 book purchase. But you know what I mean? That's a default. Everyone has a different business model, and you got to roll with what works for you. Question, still going to tell us how to price 100 items in 5 minutes manually? I will, but that's another video. I can't do that one live because it would show my seller account. I have to screen record it, and then I have to blur out a lot of stuff. I have to blur out all the item titles, the ASINs, the page, etc. You'll still be able to see the things you need to see, the sales rank, the offer prices, etc. But I'm going to have to do a lot of blurring out to protect my seller account. So I can't do that one live, but I will definitely show you guys how to do that. So tune in for that video soon. Comment down below if you want to see that video, or with any other questions that you might have about using a repricer to help you sell more on Amazon. Check the links down below in the video if you haven't before. Of course, there's a subscribe button. There's a link for the limited edition Reezy Hydro Flasks, which there's only 24 left right now. I got some merch down there you can check out, as well as all kinds of links for other softwares that I use in my business that can help you guys make more money and save more time running your Amazon business. Again, if you guys have any questions, comment down below. I'll answer everyone. Also, if you need my help, like really quickly, comment hit me on DM on Instagram or Twitter or even Snapchat. I try to answer all my messages and get back to every single one of you guys. And remember, if you're in LA, come out to the free meetup on the 25th at Shakey's Pizza. It's check out Hustler Hacks Instagram for more details. But if you have the option to make it to this meetup, do not play yourself. Show up at the meetup. Okay, guys? And other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video, or hopefully at the meetup. Just let me know if you're showing up. Comment if you're going to show up, or if you have any other questions. And remember, guys, if you ain't flipping, you slipping. And I hope this video provided some value to you and can make you some money. If you watch this video and sign up for a repricer, and then you do have a really awesome sales month, come back and comment on the video. You were right, Reezy. I sold a ton of stuff, right? All right, guys. Have a good day. I'm going to go eat some dinner, and peace out from the ghetto garage. Whoosh.